Squirrel.
Hey, y'all. Hey, Spencer. We're swapped around again.
Huh?
We're swapped around again. Hold on.
Yep, I know you do it on purpose.
Y'all. I don't know what I've missed in chat.
I know. I'm seeing that. I saw your comment, Jesse. Shut up.
They're swapped around again.
I hadn't even looked at chat. How many we got in here with us?
No, I don't know. 56 right now.
Look at there.
This thing's a minute behind, though. It takes a minute to get caught up. Hello, everyone. How are y'all? Hope everybody's doing good. I see Diane and Leanne are in here. Thank you to the moderators. Is Spikes in here? I thought I saw him. Mr. Noble, how are you? Hello, Dorothy. Hello, Mark Creel.
Leanne.
Art. Billy Schilling. Sharon. Hello. Hello, guys. Hey, Jerry. How are y'all?
New people. We got new people in here. Hey.
Hello. Hello, Justin Old Fart. How are you? Bobby, how you doing, ma'am? 3D. How's the mushroom carving working out?
No doubt.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
Hey,
Time to work on it.
Misty, some legends never die.
Hey,
Barbara Locke's in the house. What are you doing, Barbara? Thank you for jumping on here.
Yeah.
Deb Bryan, Wendell, David Hughes. How's it going, brother? I know I saw Fireball Christie in here. Leanne, Katie G. Katie, when you going to come on the damn show? Anyway. Hello, Larry. Well, y'all, hope everybody is doing good. I've got my Squatching Cowboy original shirt on today. It's going to be a good day.
There we go.
Hey, Misty made the thumbnail. What'd y'all think about that? The booger in the Bayou.
That was a good one.
That's kind of cool, ain't it? I liked it.
You told me I couldn't put no sparkle and glitters and all that.
No rainbow unicorn dust or all that crap.
No doubt.
All right. So, now, before I forget, guys, on Facebook, who all needs thoughts and prayers? I mean, obviously, Gary. Just everybody keep Gary Spikes in your thoughts and prayers. But when there's somebody else, DA's healing up just fine. There was somebody else that we're friends with that I.
So, wasn't it Bobby? Bobby's been having trouble with her, shoulder or something? Ain't that right?
Yes. But Bobby Younce. How do you say your last name, Bobby? Is it Younce or Younce?
I don't think she's able to tell you. You know, when she types it, it's going to.
Type it phonetically.
Yeah, phonetically. But now look, you're going to have to. Can you do phonetically where it sounds rednecky where we can understand it?
Then we'll really understand it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Hello, Phyllis. Is Sherry in here? Somebody just said hi to Sherry.
I don't know.
There she is. There she is.
I had my glasses on and they were fogging up. So I'm
Sherry, that was an excellent show on Sawdust Beef. And
3 days. I love 3 days. 3 days comment right there. Misty needs forgiveness for that carving.
Yes.
I'm working on it.
Hey, look, 3 days. Look. There's not a comedian around that's got material that funny. Ain't nobody.
It is what it is.
I'm just worried that there's gonna be like a big tree on the neighbor's.
Hey, Randy,
missing.
How are you?
I don't have no trees, so maybe.
Before we get sidetracked, y'all, if you have not seen D.A. Roberts' Ex Machina, the past 2 shows, go watch both of those. They're great. They're great. And if you did not see Sherry, Mark Green, David Hughes, and Kumbo, along with some dialogue from Mr. Mark Newble on Sawdust Beast from this past Thursday. That was a really good show, and you definitely need to go watch that. That was excellent. And I mean, everybody, check out all the channels. You know, everybody that we like, all that kind of stuff. Anyway,
who's our guest?
I'm getting to that. I was getting ready to say, I guess we'll just jump right in here.
You're killing me. You're taking too long. I got
Hey,
shit to do.
While I'm thinking about it, though, while I'm thinking about it, y'all, I've chuckled since Thursday night because David Hughes, he got to talk to Kumbo not only on the show, but he called Kumbo later that night, and he told me, he's like, man, I talked to Kumbo at like 1 a.m. Golly, he can talk.
Everybody says the same thing.
Yeah.
There's our guest. For all of y'all watching, our guest is Chad. Are you happy now, Misty?
I am. Thank you.
No doubt.
Chad, how's it going,
Bring
man?
the man out. Let him talk.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
You're fine.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. I'm Chad. I'm from Louisiana, Northwest Louisiana. I live in a little town called Blanchard. It's not much, and but I have a lease in a lake house on Caddo Lake, and that's where most of everything's happened there in Sabine Parish. I know you've probably heard of Mike Cooley. I've had some stuff happen to me probably 7 or 8 miles from where he had his stuff happen to him. I guess I'll start there.
Mike, first of all, Mike Woolley's stuff was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And the whole Caddo Lake area, I mean, that's a highly active area. But before you start going into when it started happening to you, did you? I mean, you're a big time hunter, always have been.
Yeah.
Outdoorsman. Did you have any? What were your thoughts on, boogers, cryptids, all that kind of stuff? Did you think anything about them? Did you believe in them, or?
Well, I was intrigued by the idea of maybe something existing like that, but I thought it was BS. I really did. I guess 20-something years ago, there was supposedly a town of Zawali. I think somebody said that there was an official there that said they seen one. When I don't know if it was a mayor or justice of the peace or something. But I remember hearing that, and I was thinking, they must be smoking or something, or drunk or something, because that's just no way. If a deer camera ain't got it, then it just ain't out there.
Right.
But, pretty much a lot of people around here still do think, that's the first thing you hear. Well, how come a camera hasn't captured it? How come there isn't proof? Or, I just say, well, it's a lot deeper than that. There is proof. But so I guess the first thing that ever happened to me, and I'll probably jump around a little bit from these two parishes. Okay. I've hunted about 20 years in each of them, and we're riding four-wheelers. It was, I'd say, 2002, 2003-ish. We're riding four-wheelers, me and a buddy, and I'm talking about, okay, if anybody knows where Belmont, Louisiana is, there's probably one chicken farm or two chicken farms there, nothing but just woods, okay? We're riding, in the middle of nowhere, been riding all night, and all of a sudden we just stopped on a dirt road. This dirt road teed into another dirt road. There probably was a house, a farm. It was a chicken farm, probably about 2 miles from there. That was it. So we stopped right there, killed a four-wheeler, and was reaching in the pocket for a light of smoke, and something just, and so, it was just standing right inside the thicket. 20 yards. And so we just, me and my buddy was riding together. We've been out varmint hunting, you know, running a speaker and everything in a few spots. And man, we was like, oh my, you crackhead, you know. So we cranked up and left. We just laughed about it. But there's just no way. I mean, that rattlesnake country up there ain't no way nobody be standing off in that thing, you know. So for a long time, we didn't think nothing of it. And then I seen another time. I seen like a woven looking structure that I thought was real weird. But you know, back in them days, you didn't have no phones or nothing. You know, you just walk by something and think, oh, you know, maybe some Boy Scout or something out here. But this was like a dome, a half dome that was woven in between two trees. That was just really remote where I was at. I was scouting, hunting, and then another time, same lease. I'm walking out this trail, and it's kind of a cutover that paralleled this trail. I say you got the trail going, and you got a set of woods about 200 or 300 yards thick. Then you got a cutover that paralleled that road, long ways, mile maybe, kind of parallel. I'm walking out 300 or 400 yards to where I parked my four-wheeler, and the coyotes sound like coyotes, just stayed. I mean, like 30 to 40 yards. It seemed like right beside me. Just I'm thinking, and I remember at the time I didn't even think nothing about no Bigfoot or no creature. I'm thinking that is so odd for them to be howling at me, following me out of here like that. I'm thinking that, wow, I'm getting escorted by coyotes. I didn't think, you know, you hear the term escorted by Bigfoot. I was thinking back then, I'm getting escorted out of here, you know. I wasn't scared at all. I had a 300 Win mag and a good light. And it just, they just kept beside me for so long. And Greg, I know you deer hunt a lot. That's just a coyote don't do that. Especially if you're walking out, they see the first glimpse of a beam, they're going to shut the yapping up. And it's just, you know, anyway, so that was really weird, you know, in my mind at the time. You know, that was really the only things that happened there that was significant down in that parish. Other than this year, opening day, my son, me and him was walking in, and he said, I said, okay, bud, it's youth hunt. You walk in front of me, you got the gun. So we going in, and we hear and immediately I was like, it just cringed me. I was like, whoa. And he turned around, and his eyes got big. He was like, please tell me that was a human or another hunter. I said, bud, we're the only people on this 750 acre block. No, it's not. I said, let's go on in here and stay on this trail and sit. And of course, we didn't see no deer, but that was so weird for him to just turn around and initiate the big eyes. You know what I mean? So he got to experience that. But on to Caddo Parish. I got a camper that's on the lake, and it's really remote around there. Like, I don't really have any neighbors. The neighbors I do have are duck hunters, and they don't really show up much. And the other side of the road is about a 4,500 acre private owner owns this land, 4,500 acres. It's huge. No one ever goes in there. It's just, you know, you get caught in there, you're going to get in trouble, you know. And so, I'm sitting in my camper, and I guess it was probably about 10 o'clock at night. And man, I'm sitting there, and it's deer season, and I'm beside this tall window, and I'd say to the bottom of the window, I would say would probably be about 7 to 8 feet. And that's where my bed was, a little twin bed right there. Man, I could raise up and look out the window, and I see the canal, I can see the neighbor's yard, and I can see the light under the neighbor's yard, and I can see. I mean, I'd sit up there all the time and watch deer. It wouldn't be nothing to see 30, 40 deer tonight. And so anyway, it's deer season, and I remember laying there, and I had my there's a 7 mag leaned up in the corner. Okay, like I said, about 10 or 11 at night. Well, I had a can outside with the top cut off of it. Not a can, but a drum, metal drum for my trash. And so I'd go out there and stuff all my trash in there, and then whenever it got full enough, I'd put it in the back of the truck, haul it down the road, or sometimes I'd just dump it and burn it. Anyway, it was about time for me to dump it, and I heard some rustling around going on out there. So immediately I thought coon. So I got up, stormed out there, and of course, about my storming, making foot stomps in the camper, I ran off whatever, I'm thinking coon. So I opened the door, get out of here. So I had an empty bag of deer corn, and I took it on top and smushed it down, compacted it on where it would, not let the wind blow off. So I went on back in there and laid down again, sitting there, man. And this just gives me creeps to start and talk about it. And this is when I'm 6'5" and 290, and I ain't scared of nothing but Jesus. You know what I mean? And so, look, I'm laying there asleep, and all of a sudden, you're gonna laugh if I do it, but it just was like this, it sounded like this, just like that. I mean, but slower and deeper. And it just encapsulated me, man. It just because of it wasn't like coming from down on the ground. I'm laying vertical in the bed, okay? And the window's right here, not vertical. I'm laying all the way down horizontal. And I just hear it, it's above me, okay? And I've never heard none of this in my life. But it was just, and I wasn't even thinking about it. This is still at the time I wasn't thinking about Bigfoot, right? It just, whatever this was something I didn't want to look up, and I didn't want to raise up. It just like that. I couldn't move. All I could do was think. My thinker was good. You know what I mean? So, and it did it probably just real nasally, like gargly, slow. I never heard anything like it. It wasn't loud as far as decibel loud, but rumbling, like percussion loud, but low, I guess is a way to maybe explain it. But look, whenever, okay, so in my mind, I said, I need to make the first move. I'm fixing to be lunch for something. Because the whole outside yard, it was just always dark. I always kept it dark because I wanted to see deer, And, and I'm sure when I did have the lights on in there, or maybe like the lights from the radio or something shining on me, they always look at me, and everything. But look, whenever in my mind, I said, I got to make the first move for that 7 mag. Whenever I rolled off the bed to go over there and make the run for it, you ever felt something? You ever been in a camper and somebody been on the other end of it and get up, use the bathroom or something, that shake?
Yeah, rocks.
Man, I got up, okay, I rolled out of bed and was I needed to just get 12 feet and grab it daggone. Well, I did. I ran over there. But in the meanwhile, I felt something shove off. It made me like in my footsteps. That's what's, boy, every day, 3 or 4 times a day, I'm sitting there going, golly, just how big, And so anyway, that was that. when I went over there and I had the daggum, the 7 mag, I was still like, I just didn't want to be there. I was thinking, Mama, Mama, you know. And so, didn't see nothing. Didn't see nothing. But it was a feeling of something that pushed off, and that whatever it was, it just, that was freaky. Okay, so same window, same bed. It was December the 2nd, 2021. It was about 2:30 in the morning. Me and my old lady, we're down there at the camp in the RV, and we're playing Cowboys and Indians. Okay, and man, whenever I look up in the neighbor's yard, this is the same place, same property. When I look up, I see something walking from right to left, and I would say, my mind wanted to say poacher, but the arms were too long. And I seen it for probably, it was 169 yards away. And I seen it for probably about 25 to 30 feet of the right to left walk. And it just, you know, it's just
What time
about 2:30
in the morning?
Yeah, it was about 2:30 in the morning. And but yeah, that same place, I shot deer and walked up to, my wife was coming in. She'd been in Vegas, okay, for a business trip, and she called me. She said I'm gonna be delayed. She said about 4 hours. I said, okay, well, I'm gonna just hunt this thing. She said, okay, go ahead. If you go, kill one. I said, I got you, babe. So anyway, when I went, I set up on this road. I could see a long ways, and about 200 yards. Anyway, they come out, and I had tags so I could shoot 2 doe or 3 doe, whatever. So I went ahead and busted 2. Right, the first one comes out. It fell right there in the road. The second one comes out, and I hit it, and it was flipping. It looked like, you know, it was a bad deal. And so I got up, got my bag, walked up there, and the first one I just drug it off, so in case a 4-wheeler or truck come by, it wouldn't run it over. Kind of a hill and curve there. And the other one was about 25 feet off the road, and I look over there at it, and it's got that eyes wide open glaze, head flat on the ground, with probably a volleyball size pool of blood already right there. Okay, I'm 25 feet from you, and I see you, and I see the blood that went there to you. And so I said, okay, I don't have to mess with that one. It's off the road too, and you know, I can easily find them when I come back with the truck, which had been at dark. Well, coming in there, I wound up getting stuck because my truck wouldn't go in 4-wheel drive in a little place I was at, so I had to call my father-in-law to come get me. So he comes up there. I said, well, go ahead and bring your buggy too, because I don't have mine. It'll be easier to get these deer. So he comes on about an hour or so later, and we get in there, pulling in with his buggy, and you can see the one laid off on the side of the road. I said, okay, stop right here. So I went and got it, and the specs going the other way to the other one. I had a big bright light, a big Q beam, you know, shine over there to that spot, man. Nothing. And immediately I just said, I knew, and really I kind of felt something or sensed something in that way whenever I went up there. It was kind of standing over top of the 2. Literally standing over top of the 2. They're on the ground taking dirt naps, and I'm looking at them. You know what I mean, Greg? How many of you done like that? You just walk up to them, you're 20 feet from them, and they're just like I just described.
I've had 6 that we've laid hands on.
See, I mean, and so it's really, you know what I mean? I guess I'm gonna just start popping one of them, just get a loudspeaker and go, all right, here y'all. You know, do I need ice today? Or, but it's that one happened, and I shot it was an 8 one time. This one here, the same thing. 35 yards, I'd say, was 7 mag. The shot was not 35 yards, may have been 150 yards, but anyway, the deer ran 35 yards. Where I hit it, it was a pool of blood as big as a kitchen trash bag, and you know, the way it looked running off, it was anyway. The thing died right there because it was a big pool of blood where it coming out of its mouth again, and then just nothing after that. You know, I looked the next morning. The blood sign, just getting to it, was incredible. And then you get to it 35 yards, and they laid up right there in a little thicket, and it just was. You could see where it matted its body down, matted the grass down, and then also the pool of blood coming out of its mouth or nose, then gone. Nothing, nothing. Yeah. So, but to get to the stuff that's happened on the deer lease side, which is probably about 2 miles down the road from where my lake. Man, I was walking out. Well, I'm sitting back there in this climber. It was back there on the bayou, right? And I hear this big crack. I mean, like the limbs that you know is like done with force. I hear it. 7 or 8 seconds later, on the other side, about 400 yards from this one, they're doing it on both sides of the trail. The same thing, crack. I'm like, wow. And I remember at the time texting my buddy going, man, it sounds like a zoo back here, you know. And so I start walking out, and because they've had some stuff happen to them, you know, and seen some. I'll get to that. And so anyway, I'm walking out, and I got about 400 or 500 yards to walk out down this kind of trail. It's kind of growed up, and it's open and it's thick, and then open you can see it and you can't. But up there by my four-wheeler was parked at, it was real thick on both sides, and I'm almost to it. And I'm walking in kind of a trail that's rode on a lot, and there's pines in there. You know, when you walking on a trail like that, and you've been riding it with a four-wheeler a lot, you can quite walk it pretty good, you know, if it ain't like hardwood leaves. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Man, I'm walking out in a few big pines to my right is something behind it just steps on the stick. And here's a piece to a shop vac, okay? And I guarantee you that stick was that big when it broke. But it was muffled underfoot. And immediately it just, I knew, you know, and it was just the way things like that, you know, you can't really explain to folks unless they're, you know, wood walkers, as y'all say. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't really explain that kind of thing to somebody unless they're spent some time hunting or been in the woods a lot. And, but on that same lease, the old man who I've talked to you about, Spencer, he's had, just the other day, he texted me and said, hey, they hit on my trailer in 3 different spots last night and answered me back. I mean, he's had them, okay, so he's got a pond out in front of his house. And his place is about, as a crow flies, about 2 miles from mine. And but his place is on the actual 1,500-acre lease. And hold on, let me get it.
1,500 acres, damn.
So at this time, the question about it on our lease is not, do you believe? It's kind of like, have you had anything happen to you this week? Or, you know, two of us up there have seen it. The old man has seen it more than me. And I'd like to get him on one day if we could maybe twist his arm. But I'd like for him to find his pictures too. And I got some pictures I'd like to share with you when we get them in video. But anyway, he's got a pond out in front of his house, and he's out there by a pond. I say it's 2 or 3 acre pond. He picks up a rock, he skips it. He kind of walks along a little bit, gets another rock, says, I ain't skipped a rock since I was a kid, you know. Skips another one. He said all of a sudden, other side of the pond, which I say from bank to bank is probably 120, I'd say, yards. And he said the stick the size of you know, 2 softball bats, probably, he said, was stowed, come over the trees. He said he could hear it though. And he said it was almost thrown all the way to him. He said it was like 20, 30 yards from him. And he said, he was like, okay, wow. And
Bro.
man, I mean, well, the other side of this pond is literally as thick as you can imagine, and it's just really just kind of like the beavers have messed the dam up on that pond, and it's just kind of flooded back in there over the years, and it'll dry up kind of. You know, the pond will lose water height, and it kind of drop. Just back there, it's just nasty thick. I don't even think you could touch. I mean, you'd have to have a D9 dozer pushing a D9 dozer in there, and it's that thick, and that's where that limb come from. So we got a bunch of things to tell you about on that lease. So the old man, I call him Pop. His name's Mark. But Mark, he was hunting a few different times and seen something come across the road, like, you know, the belly of an animal pretty much has a horizontal mark. But when you see the belly of a monkey, it's a lot like real low in the front, and its belly's real high in the back. He described that like a big figure, like a couple times, just not messing around at all. And I said, Pop, I said, you ever thought about it could possibly be one of those things that shoot across there on all fours? Because I said, I heard they get speed up like that, you know, when they're trying to get somewhere. And whenever I told him that, he was like, whoa, you know. The same place. And when I told him that, it just no doubt then. He's seen a few times, not a few times. He tells me, and he showed me this one spot that it happened. We kind of driving by on a main road and kind of look down a pipeline that really nobody go down it much anymore. And but you look down it, and it's a set of telephone poles down there about 200 yards. He said he was passing by there one day, and it was just some black figure standing down there. And when he passed by, he goes, crap, I'm going to back up, see what the heck. Is there somebody down there, oil field guy, lost or something? Backs up, nothing, gone, you know. Man, it's just been so much. The gut bucket, the place where we was hauling the carcasses.
Yes, you told me about this. This is good.
The carcasses were, we would shoot something and take it somewhere. When I say somewhere, we would take it to this little spot on the High Line that ain't too far from this. I say 500 yards.
Yeah.
And it'd put stuff there, and it'd come up missing. you know, like that's no surprise. That's what happens and stuff in the carcasses in the woods. But I mean, like 3 hours later, a guy skins another deer. Excuse me, go haul gut and dump them in the pile again. You know, and then the previous one that someone took down there 3 hours earlier, it's gone. You know, sometimes two things at one time gone. And so they got to thinking, and I mean, like not gone like as in eat up and scattered gone. I mean, like picked up and gone. No hair, no nothing. No, you know how it is, Greg, with something varmints, coyotes, and
Oh, they
panthers.
make a hell of a mess.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Y'all are experienced in the woods, so it's a mess. And so, huh?
Hold on, Chad. House, where did you gut your deer at on your cousin's land whenever you were running that lease and had all that stuff?
I didn't because I wasn't trying to feed these things. I was carrying them back to my house, which is 7 miles away, and doing it.
Oh, so you never gutted them out there?
No, I didn't want to be there, especially alone. That
Yeah.
deep in blood and everything else, gutting them out with
Well, no,
them
but
over here.
that's after you knew about the damn things. You didn't
Yeah.
start out gutting them there?
No, man, the thing about me is, you know, this is where I've had all this stuff happen where I hunt. It's not but 7 miles to my house. And like at my house, I built a 14 by 14 building, concrete floor that sloped to the center. It's got a 4-inch drain hole. Got a winch to winch them up, big halogen lights, stainless steel cut up table. I mean, I got the commercial meat grinder. I used to have a commercial bandsaw to cut meat with, but we didn't use it, so I sold it. But yeah, I've got all the stuff to process my deer. It's like like a butcher shop.
Right.
But you didn't gut them there even in the beginning before you knew about the boogers.
Nah, this is so close to home. We didn't mess with it. I just carry them there, and we always had plenty of animals there that would eat what was the carcasses. So,
Right.
you know, that's what we did. But now I'll tell you this. Troy Allen, he scolds me every year about not doing that. He's like, no wonder they're pissed at you because you're taking and not leaving them anything. He said, you need to be leaving them. Then that's what they like really is what they call the sweet meat, the heart, the liver, the lungs, stuff like that. And he said, you need to be leaving them their share. And I mean, that to me, it makes plausible sense. But also, I don't want them thinking that, you know, I'm just going to give them a freebie. So,
according to Chris Reinhardt, you're supposed to gift them and they gift back, and they throw coyote legs and leave them at your doorstep and everything. Come on now, be part of the caring and sharing.
Well,
stop being an asshole.
They've stolen enough from me in the last several years, and like I said, you know, that the creepiest thing that I've ever saw like that was the one that they stole that my dad killed, and I went back 2 or 3 days later, and they threw the carcass right back out in the field.
Yeah,
they had stripped that baby pretty much clean and flung it back out in the field, and you could see they didn't drag it. You could see where it hit the ground and rolled.
My gosh, I believe.
Oh, pictures of that in Cal Bronco's book.
Yeah,
That's freaky. I've had it happen 2 times. I mean, right in front of my eyes.
What?
Well, as far as missing deer.
Oh,
right.
But
I mean, I had a report right over here through the woods from where I'm talking about, where Dad's deer, the actual field where Dad's deer was stole and brought back, and that's the same field where Wanda killed a nice 8-point. We walked out to go get my Suzuki Samurai. We wasn't gone 15 minutes. Come back, that deer was like it floated off like a balloon. But about 1.25 miles through the woods. Now I'm talking about through rough woods and a big gorge and back up. But there's some government land. And two guys that I know, I'd heard the story and they wouldn't talk about it, and they finally told me about it. And these guys was out illegal hunting. They was hunting at night. And they spotlighted a deer, and it was off the road. They shot it. And about the time the shot rang out and the deer crumpled and hit the ground, they said that like 15 15 yards from it, this big black thing streaks out, runs over, grabs the deer, stands up with it, and looks at him. And he said, I said, well, what do you think it was? He said, well, I'll just tell you, it was a goddamn Bigfoot. Said the damn thing run out there. When that deer fell, it ran out there and got it with him and had it in the spotlight. And he said it took off. He told me, he said, man, we don't even go back down that road anymore. And that road's probably, I don't know, it's a mile and a half long, just a dead end road on Forestry Service land. But it took me a while for them to even tell me about what had happened.
Right.
So, and that, like I said, it's probably from the paved road into where that happened to them is about, they're going east a mile and a quarter, say, or so. And then from there due north to where I'm at is about a mile and a quarter. So from where that happened to them is about a mile and a quarter from where I have a lot of stuff happen to me.
Right.
But I mean, here, dude, I mean, I'll tell you what, I killed a really nice 8-point last year. I sent my wife, told her, hey, I killed pretty good in this scene and sent her some pictures and this and that. I sent Joe Parker a picture, sent him a picture of it. Well, he calls me video messenger. I'm talking to Parker. Well, he said, what are you doing? I said, well, of course I killed this deer. He said, well, you going to load it? I said, man, my foot's messed up with this ankle. I can't load it. He said, well, go get some help. I said, no, I'm not. No. I said, I had to call somebody. I said, I could go get somebody, but I'm not leaving. He's like, well, just go grab somebody. I'm like, no. If I leave this deer, odds are when I come back, it's not going to be here. And I had to sit there and wait for somebody to come help me load it. And
yeah,
we don't leave them anymore. I mean, I do not get out of sight of one, because you leave and come back, it's probably not going to be there. And it's almost like you're ringing the dinner bell.
Yeah.
If they whether they're sitting there and watching you or not, when they hear that rifle go off and they know what area it's in, I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, they don't have to run it down. They don't have to chase it. All they got to do is go to the field, peep out and go, well, is there anybody here? Or they see you leave. I figure as soon as you're out of sight, they step out there, snatch it up, and they're gone.
All day long. They know exactly what's up with that rifle shot.
I mean, it's even like,
Ain't stupid.
people can look it up. I mean, like Kodiak Island. They was talking about the bears are so bad. Said when people are out there hunting, the bears got to where when they hear a rifle shot, they go to the rifle shot because they associate it with a free meal.
Yeah. Yeah. But man, like I say, there's no denying the ones that you walked up and was it within 20, 30 yards. Greg, you said you've had 6 of them. 2, I've had 2. I mean, that's just, they're non-forgettable.
Dude, I mean, there was one 6-point that I killed. I thought it was an 8. I shot that deer about 175 yards. And when I shot him, he just flipped around and he fell. And my rifle recoiled, and I looked, over the scope, and he started kicking. Well, by the time I went back in the scope, I done flipped the safety back off. And I was fixing to shoot him, and he kind of rolled over on his belly, and he just kicked. It looked like he just lunged and went right back in the thicket. So I didn't have time for another shot. But I knew he was hit hard, and when I waited a little while, and 5 or 6 minutes, climbed down and walked 175 yards. And that's the one that I've been over and looked up in the thicket, and I could see him. I stepped over the sage grass and kind of duck walked a little bit, and then it got to where I could stand up. I walked all the way to that deer, took my boot, kicked him in the butt. He just kind of jiggled. He didn't wiggle. He didn't do nothing. I stepped around beside him because it was in that thicket. It was like just a deer trail, real narrow, like a little tiny narrow hallway.
Yep.
I stepped over. My boot was against his belly, and I reached down and caught his horns. And when I picked his horns up, the deer was about a 17 or 18 inch spread. And he would have been a really nice 8. But his brow tines, they were just like little bitty nubs. They didn't ever grow up. And so he was a 6. He was a mainframe 6 and just had startings of the 2 brow tines.
Right.
And I was like, Dad gum, you know, and I'm kind of disgusted. Now, don't get me wrong. He was a good deer. Deer probably weighed 180 pounds. And he had a nice developed rack. It's just his genetics. He didn't have those two brow tines right above, some people call them eye guards. I pick his head up and his tongue's hanging out that far, blood pouring. And I mean, I'm looking at a gaping hole where the bullet went in him. And, you know, he's dead. He's not breathing, tongue hanging out. He's dead as he can be. And he's basically hit in the thicket. I've got his head picked up, looking at his horns, turning it, laid him down, walked back out. I wasn't gone 10 minutes. Coming back, and that deer was gone. He wasn't drugged. They didn't nobody come in there. There was not a person. There's no way a person done it.
There, yeah.
But that deer was gone. I never found nothing. And they right where he was laying, I'll step back in there. It's like, where'd he go? There was a pool of blood, big as my torso. I mean, just blood where that deer had been laying. That deer didn't run off. He didn't run off, and a person didn't towed him, and it wasn't codes didn't drag him.
Wow. They got remember me telling y'all about the gut bucket?
Yeah.
The old man's got some pictures of that where, okay, so the old man told his son, has been passed away now for over a year. He was 45 and passed away, so it's kind of been rough on him, rough on me. But he had some stories too, and encounters and stuff like that. And one besides, he was involved in the gut bucket thing because his daddy told him, "Well, dump that gut bucket. You know, it's 3 deer in there, or what have you. You know how you take a plastic drum and cut it in half or whatever, and then cut handles in it and all. Well, I don't think it was any holes drilled in the bottom. So you take all that bone mass and intestines and blood and water and whatever, and you fill it all the way to the top. I'd say 300 pounds, you know. It's heavy. And his dad said, the old man said, "Hey, son, I thank you for, dumping that gut bucket like I told you to." He goes, "Dad, I didn't dump it." So they go over there. I guess he had just kind of walked up to it initially and looked at it from a distance away and then seen it was empty. And then he walked off, but they walked back over to it. He said, and you could easily see where it scooped from up under. It didn't grab a handle. It scooped from up under. And I guess, I don't know, there was no drops or nothing like that around it. It just like it drank it. I don't know. I don't know. It was, yeah. But the pictures, you can see where the fingers are huge, where it just lays in the mud right there. And he's got, I've had some pictures that I wanted to find for a while, but I do have some pictures that I'll share to you Facebook page or whatever. But
hey, bud,
man, so another thing that happened with the old man's son is pretty significant. We run a lot of hog dogs up there when it's not deer season and stuff. And this old fellow that hog dog hunts a lot all over the state, all over East Texas, all over. He's got some really, really good bay dogs, but he's got a bull mastiff that's about 175 pounds, big old black, tall bull man. I mean, he's suicidal. And when he hits a hog, it's usually you hear bone cracking and teeth grabbing, and it's pretty cool. And he loves it. He loves it. So they all got collars on them, right? They're all out. They just got out of the truck. The dogs, the bay dogs go in there and they catch, right? They're like, I think he said 180 yards out in front of them. And he said all of a sudden it sounded like a dog got just poked with a needle. So he sees, let's just call her Betsy, run back to the cage, all right, the truck. And he's thinking, okay, maybe a cat or something. He said, "This is freaky. I wasn't there, but it happened on my lease." Another happened to a second bay dog. Okay, yelp, go back to the truck. I got you. Stay with this so look. He sends the bull mastiff in there. The bull mastiff don't play, man. I wish I had a picture of this dog. He goes in there, same thing, yelps, and this thing ain't going back to the truck. It goes down the road 2 miles. There was a guy and had his truck cranked up with the door open. The guy was getting ready to go to work, and he had the door open on his truck. But this bull mastiff jumps up in this fella's F-150 and is sitting there like against the other door as far as he can get. And the guy said the dog wouldn't come out. It was just so crazy of that dog. So that happened, and he's thinking, where in the heck? So on the GPS, okay, after that they gathered every dog except that bull mastiff. The bull mastiff was down like 2 miles. Okay, everything's back in the cage, and they can actually see where the bull mastiff is too, his collar. And he said everything was caught up back in the cage. He said out in the woods, something was going, oh, oh, like, come on.
Well,
That's that story right there. But anyway, that fella, big time hog hunter. He said, yeah. He said, and look, he's caught a lot of hogs on our lease, but since that happened, he don't come around no more. He said, I will not go back up there. Won't do it. You know, I don't know. I think that would have been a pretty big son of a gun when they're doing that. I don't know, to do that bull mastiff like that big 175-pound one. What I seen was not impressively big, but the arm where it was by the kneecaps. That's what. At first, the figure said because 169 yards, and it kind of the neighbor it has by their boathouse kind of like it's a light, and it just walked kind of right directly under it. Where all the deer always do, you know. I'm always looking out that window right there. You know how it is when you have animals in your yard and you look out to see them. You look there, you know, every time you go out or whatever. And but it wasn't impressively big. It was just impressively sneaky, moving fast, but not running. And it was where the freaking arms were. It was just all day or every day. A lot of times all day, I think about it. You know, I found some small tracks, but I've never found any big tracks. I think up here they're real careful about stepping in mud. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. They don't want to leave tracks.
Yeah, they don't want to give the game away.
No, they don't. And places I have found them is not like your regular trails. It's gonna be like where hogs have watered up stuff and what have you. It's disturbed the leaves and they've made their hog water impression. I ain't seen anything around like regular forward trails or, you know, just where humans. They know where humans inhabit to travel, and that's why they stay away from it. And here, you know, you got a lot of these swamps. You got a lot of leaf litter, and you got a lot of hardwoods, and then you got a lot of cypress where I'm at too. And it just kind of like an orange forest floor. You might find impressions, but you're not gonna get nothing that notice in a cypress forest. Just not, you know, unless you have just bare spots of ground, which around Caddo Lake there, it's just so thick. It's just. I've heard stuff out there at night yell and holler and whack on wood so many times it's not even funny. That him about that hog hunting deal, that was pretty crazy. He told me, the old man told me that he had the same thing happen to him at his window one night over at his house. something growl like that, and it encapsulate him. The way that there's another time we were all out hunting. Okay, my buddy is I guess 6 of us on that club. All the guys are out in the evening time, and no one's back yet. I guess it's three campers there on that little spot by the camp. And my buddy's wife was there with her daughter and their pit bull inside the camper. And like I say, I guess she said it was about 6:15. Right there at that hour where it's dark. Okay, this whatever it is out there that's doing this feels safe to move, and it knows none of the guys are back yet. You know, so she's sitting in there, and I think she said she was watching like cartoons with the baby girl, and the dog was with them. She said all of a sudden, whack! And she said the dog just went nuts, and she's going nuts. The baby's going nuts, and then it runs all the way to the other end of the camper and just whack, whack, whack. So 1 hit and then 3 hits. And then she said, and to see her talk about it is just incredible. Is pretty crazy, you know. Something. It wasn't none of us coming back and playing a trick on her and scaring that baby like that, you know. It's pretty incredible. We've had an old man up there that hunted up there. He had been really more of a duck hunter than a deer hunter, but he liked it up there where we are. It's it both is right at your hands, you know. Whatever you like, what you like, duck hunt in the morning, deer hunt in the evening, or vice versa, or don't do one or the other, and whatever. But this fellow was pretty much a duck hunter, and he was leaving. I don't know. It was right close to dark. I don't know if it was already dark or if it was a little daylight. But anyway, come over a hill, and he said the thing was big, just dark, like, you know, you see things too, monkeys or apes. He said it got to the ditch on the side of the road. He said the ditch just went like vertical up for about, not literally vertical, but it was just a real steep incline. And he said when that thing went to come up at 4, it kind of couldn't make it, so it just kind of fell back. And he said when it did, it landed on 2 feet. He said it didn't. That's what he said. Then it just walked up. But animals don't. You know what I mean? And that man never come back again.
Sounds like some of the people at Mark Green's hunting lease.
Yeah.
Barbara Locke wanted to know if you get most of your activity a certain time of the year, or is it just consistently just all year long, or?
You know, really, it seems to me like, to be honest, deer season, because I'm there more. You know,
And right.
That place is about 18 miles from where I live at. It's just my camp, my lake house. You know what I mean? I live 8 miles away. But yeah, I would have to say now, I have had stuff happen and heard stuff and yells and extremely loud wood knocks. Night fishing, I bass fish a lot at night. And if you've ever even rode on Caddo Lake or looked at the video of it or anything, it's just it's the biggest bald cypress swamp, I think, in the world, and or maybe the state of whatever, Texas. It's the biggest natural lake that is associated with Texas.
I've seen Barbara post pictures of it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I think she stays over on the actual river, like that feeds Caddo Lake. it's all the same, but she's on the Texas side.
Caddo Lake has a history for decades now of booger activity.
Yeah, it does, and I always thought it was BS. I always thought it was BS because why ain't nobody got good pictures of it? You know what I mean? There's a guy saying he's out there flipping a spinnerbait one day and looks up on the bank and there he is, standing on the other side of a barbed wire fence. I remember seeing that video going, you know how many times I've fished Caddo Lake,
Oh, are you talking about the video with the husband and the wife in the boat and they look up and see it up there on the ridge?
I don't know if that's the one. This guy was just talking, explaining it. I think it was probably like Animal Planet. I've seen it. I don't know. It was long ago when I seen that video.
Yeah,
I heard of a lot of stuff about Caddo in that area. Of course, East Texas and Karnak and Uncertain and all around there, the Louisiana side. I've heard old people telling old field stories because those
Man down.
Oh shit!
Man down. Oh wow.
There's something he ain't supposed to tell.
No doubt, Men in Black shut him down.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got some great stories, and I mean, I can sit here and listen to what he's talking about, and it mirrors so much a lot of what I've put up with.
There's so many things that he was saying that like it's like that weird noise that he was talking about. Like our very first investigation that we ever went on and interviewed somebody, and like not investigation, but our first meetup with trying to go and check out somebody's area that they were telling us about. It was crazy because we heard that same thing, but I wanted to ask him if he got a headache after he heard it, because me and the other girl that was with me did, and we heard it, and Sherry wasn't as close to us, and so she could hear it, but she didn't get a headache.
She didn't get the same.
She didn't get the same effect
the same
from
force of it as y'all did.
Yeah.
Hey, look here. He'll get back. There he is.
Hello?
Did your wife fix it? You good now? Thank you, Mindy.
How do you know I didn't fix it myself? How do you know that?
Because I know things. Hey,
lady.
Before we go any further, first of all, there's a couple questions we got to go back because you were talking, and we have questions for you here, and Misty will go back and pull those up. I want to say one thing to everybody in chat, going back about 20 minutes ago. Don't take this the wrong way, y'all. But on this channel, just so you know, we do not endorse going out and using stuff like sirens or air horns on these things. I don't care if you think that it's a deterrent or if you think that they hate bright light. There's normally more than one. If you piss them off, being very real. I mean, I realize there's a lot of people that have never experienced these things and you want to do something to drum up activity. If you piss these things off, you're going to have a bad day. And if you make really loud noises, have you not heard House's motorcycle story? They get ramped up, and that is not something that you want to deal with. I'm just saying, don't do that. That is not a good idea. You're going to get your ass in a tight spot. Don't think that a flashlight is going to save you, no matter how bright it is, or an air horn or anything like that. If they come in there and they're in a bad mood, I don't think a flashlight is going to save you. I don't think a damn Sherman tank is going to save you. But
my dang phone going off.
Oh.
Yeah, read my sign.
The cavalry. You was wrong, Spencer.
Look,
cavalry.
read my sign right here. Beware.
That was perfect.
But yeah, that's y'all. I mean, I try to tell people here's the deal. First off, as much as I've had, I can't tell you a whole lot about these things why they do what they do and all that, I have no clue. I mean, but I can tell you this: there was a bunch of times they wasn't trying to be my friend. They were not happy. They didn't want anything to do with me. They didn't. They made it plain and simple that they wanted me to be somewhere else. And here's what I tell people to look at like this: if you're going out there and you're trying to elicit a response from these things, well, you don't know if you're calling them up with cookies or if you're, they're looking at to be your friend, or you've made them absolutely angry. And when you go out and scream and yell at them or whatever, let's say they do think, well, okay, there's another Bigfoot. Are they thinking that you're just wanting to alert them of your presence? Or are you challenging them? The call that you hear somebody say, well, we did this, and this is what we did, and we got an awesome response. You don't know what time of the year, what mood they're in. You don't know if they're hungry. You don't know if they're happy, they're hurt, they're horny. You don't know what their mood is.
What if they just had a baby?
Yeah, or they got young with them or whatever.
I know
you don't know what you're doing. I mean, it goes back to it, guys. Use common sense, and I know common sense nowadays is a superpower. All you got to do is watch some of the videos from Yellowstone where these bunch of idiots are out there trying, let's go pet the buffalo. Well, watch how that works for them.
Right.
Go ahead, Chad.
I was talking to Mr. Will Lunsford. I know you guys know him. A few times about stuff up here. And he's like, man, I'm going to come up there and do some fishing with you. And we'll go back there at nighttime and we'll just do some hollering at them. I said, shoot, you go right on ahead. I ain't going back there hollering at nothing. I know. I mean, he's a little braver than I am about actually going back there hollering at him at night. But,
so, Chad, how far is it like from your camp there to where you actually live?
About 18 miles.
You've never had anything like Pyro's talking about. You ain't never had anything at your house to make you think that they followed you home or anything like that?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I don't know if my son, he's 17. And I guess about 3 years ago, he come running in the house and said something, threw a pine cone at him from the backyard. And I don't really have any. I got a neighbor that's probably about 500 yards down the road. And then I don't have any neighbors on the other side going the other way, except maybe like a half a mile down the road. And then back behind me, it's probably 600 acres in there of woods, and then back behind that it's like a subdivision. But anyway, it's not my land, but it's another guy's land. And every now and then you hear kids riding forwards and stuff back there. It's kind of surrounded by a neighborhood on each side, and then the road on the other side. I mean, there is a few deer in there, but I just wouldn't think that it would be a creature in there. But he did say, I mean, no, it was a pine cone from him. He said, I know he knows what a pine cone is. And I asked him, did it come from above? Whenever your line of sight knew that it was a pine cone, was it dropping vertical or what? He said, no, it was side to side like this. And that's what I always thought about that deal. Like, what the heck, Because he come running in the house. I was in the front in the garage running a table saw and stuff. And I was like, no, thinking I played a joke on him. I was like, no. So, yeah, that was just very weird for that.
That'd be scary.
Yeah. Spencer, you need to go back and look at my baby daughter's rules there.
What's she
I think number three, she's throwing at you.
Is Abby over here giving me hell in chat?
Yeah, she's doing it in a roundabout way. I think number three's got to be for you, brother.
Always have a recorder going at all times. Oh, she's very You're lucky you're tiny, Abby. Be quiet.
Yeah, they're extremely good about not leaving foot tracks around here though. Now, like that I've seen and got even pictures of small ones. 2 different times, 2 different small ones.
The track?
Yeah. Just like a 10-year-old kid walking around barefooted. Is what it looks like, you know. But yeah, we foil a ride down here, and other people do too. But you know, this ain't nowhere where Ford people are. This is off the beaten.
Yeah.
You know, like actually one was right by the old man's gate, in front of where he locking his place up. It's crazy. That was around about the time that that gut bucket got flipped over. It's nuts.
Chad, have y'all?
That gut bucket story sounds like whenever they come up on Greg's deck and drank all the dang oil out of the fish fry.
Yeah, they drank about 3 gallons of peanut oil one night.
I believe it. That smells pretty good after you know, if you got one. I mean,
that's a good question. Sherry wants to know if you've ever noticed anything that could be just knuckle walking, you know, being on all fours instead of just bipedal.
Yes, the old man's son that passed away, he had some pictures that was 3-toe tracks, but it looked like it could have been maybe knuckle walking instead of 3-toe tracks, to be honest with you. But I mean, it was definitely like it was either a dinosaur or that. They were huge.
Well, wasn't that what some of the track Falk was 3-toed?
Yeah, I remember that. That was this kind of a deal around here. You know, Falk ain't but like 25 miles or 35 miles from me.
Really?
Yeah. I could be at Falcon in no time.
You know something people always talking about, the 3-toed tracks and the 4-toed tracks, just something to keep in mind. But if boogers have a mid-tarsal break, you know, if they have a different physiology with their foot than a person, there's nothing saying. I mean, how many people have talked about them going up a sheer cliff, or, you know, look at how far they can jump and how fast they can move and everything. It could be Robbie. It could be that's a whole different species, but or a different whatever, a different subspecies of booger. But all I'm saying is we don't know for a fact that, first of all, they might have more flexibility in their foot and their toes, the way that they use them. They might be raising them up or lowering them down. Damn it, I'm froze up again. But also something that just runs through the woods constantly with no shoes on. I mean, it's possible that something got injured. Now, it'd be different if it was, you know, if you were finding 3-toed tracks on both sides. It's possible that it is a defect from inbreeding, depending on the size of their population. All I'm saying is 3 toes, 4 toes, 5 toes. It doesn't 100% mean that it's a different type of booger. It could be a multitude of factors for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a lot of things happening up there, though, man. At least I could talk to you for hours about that place. This other deal that happened that is related to our group. It's kind of like I guess like a golf course, maybe a little area that's kind of. You have this bayou that runs out of Caddo Lake, and it feeds this place called Monterey. And up there around Monterey Lake is it's kind of like some camper spots to put, and you know, you could put your boat in, I guess, up there and fish at bayou, whatever. But the fellow I think it was Pops' father-in-law. Mark is who I'm talking about. Mark's father-in-law. And I might be wrong about the father-in-law part, but if somebody did correctly, I don't know. This is just him telling me. The man rented a place there, and he had 2 dogs. There was 2 stray dogs there that night when he got there. And he said it was a volleyball net out there also. And he said it was also a barbecue pit out there, like a metal 55-gallon drum, metal drum. How people make a barbecue pit out of those. One of those. Okay, so in the middle of the night, he hears this ruckus. And one dog was killed. One dog had his leg ripped off.
Oh, damn.
Volleyball net was ripped and shredded. Like a volleyball net's 8 foot high. You know, it could have been an 8-point buck running there, get his horns caught in there. Yeah, but it ripped it like this 2 times. And then one dog's legs ripped off, the other was dead. And then the trash can was like, you know, you take a wrestler that jumps off the top rope and comes down with your knee. It looked like that's what happened to the daggum barbecue pit. It just creased it like just. And the guy said, I was so intimidated and scared by the noise, I didn't even look up to see what was doing this to the dogs. He just, you know, even if you have a gun and you're in that around something like that, and the percussion growl, I guess, was a good way for me to describe that son of a gun that night over that camper window.
I agree, Justin. So, hey, Chad, let me ask you a couple things. First of all, Abby, yes, I'm going never in a million years west.
Hey, look, I'm taking her. I reckon I would have to fight her one to both, but next Saturday, I reckon we're going to Tennessee to that conference thing that Roger's going to be at.
Where's that conference at?
It's it's 150 miles from here. It's about 3.5 hour drive. It's east of, kind of southeast of Nashville. I can't remember, McManville or something.
Hold on, we're getting to that, Steve. Hold on. Well, we'll talk about the meet and greet at the end of this. Chad, let's go back since you've covered a lot of stuff. The night that it came in and growled at your window, you talk about where it gave you a feeling like you practically couldn't move. I mean, it kind of surrounded you. Do you think that was a physical feeling? What was it all in your head? Was it just fear? I mean, what do you think it was?
Oh, it was physical when that son was going to pushed off that camper and made me lose my balance.
Yeah. But before that, though.
Before that, I guess it was, oh gosh, was it fear? Yeah, it was. I never had anything that close like that to me growling like that. And me realizing how high that it was coming from. I can't even, more so than seeing the one at 169 yards, the growling over top of me and encapsulating me, more so is a good word for it, is freaks me out more than anything that's happened to me. And I've had them close around me a couple more times, you know, that I know of.
Every time that they've been around you, could you, and I mean, some of these questions are going to get out there, but I just got to ask while you're on here. Could you feel them? Could you sense that they were there?
Nope. It's all something that they initiated first for me to realize they were there. So whenever I had that thing step on that big stick, I know that sounds insignificant, but whenever you been in the woods quite a bit, you know, you hear something, you hear a limb snap, you know, if a limb snapped when I'm holding it up here in the air,
Yeah.
it's snapped on the ground by weight, or maybe like it could be an Indian's foot with a moccasin. He stepped on it, and you're going to realize that was on the ground, and that snap was muffled.
Sure.
This was a big snap. And I just remember getting in my 4-wheeler, and it was a Yamaha Grizzly, and then, okay, come on, don't be cold-natured right now, you know. Anyway, yeah, it was. But yeah, I've never answer your question. I've never like gone out there and go, oh yeah, they're here today, you know. No,
Really?
No. But I guess once you've had a bunch of things kind of, you know, been around you and you know of it, I guess kind of like maybe you kind of are more keen to the next time of a you know, or maybe you're more listening for that. Okay, that's a woodpecker, or no, daggone, that was one hard, just one accidental sounding whack. You know,
Their lungs, how big their lungs are.
yeah.
Hey, I know that the other day Chad was out doing something, and I was talking to him and texting him, and he sent me a picture, and in the background, leaning up against the side by side, he's got like an AR-10 propped up, and I said, "Is that an AR-10?" And he wrote back, he's like, "The damn things are 8 foot tall and 600 or 800 pounds." He's like, "So yeah." Have you ever smelled them? Have you ever seen Eyeshine?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen some Eyeshine. Like I say, I like to show you some pictures. I seen one time whenever I was pulling out of my place at the lake. The neighbors got a lot of, you know, land you could look in and everything. And I remember just shining my light down through there as I was leaving. I like to look at the deer. And just in my mind, it was a raccoon up in a tree. But the eyes were so freaking big and far apart. But that's what I was thinking, because it was the height of where this thing shined at. It was just, and it was at the distance to where, you know, like you see it really well, but you can't see the body mass of what the shape is or anything. It was one of those deals. And yeah, I've had pictures like of my deer camera that's shining down there by the lake. And it'd be stuff moved behind it, but you can't tell what back there, no matter how well you zoom it in or whatever. But it's a form way behind the deer moving. And I got one the pictures I showed you before, Spencer. I showed you, Greg, of the creature moving behind the deer, with the eyes moving. Well, there's a sequence of pictures that move 3 times, down real low, then the eyes are up middle, and then the deer's head's turned a little bit, you know, on this picture. Then the next picture, the deer's looking this way, and then the eyes are like 12 foot high. Yeah.
Okay. Have to ask, you know how it goes. This is a YouTube show about Bigfoot. What do you think about Dog Man? Any experiences with that? Have you seen anything that would make you think a certain way about it?
I believe if somebody says they see one, and I guess I believe them. A man's got to give me a reason to think he's a liar first for me. Yeah, I believe the Dog Man, but I ain't never seen the Dog Man. No, or anything like related like a Dog Man. Never heard anybody around here saying that they seen one. Everything's been apish shape, apish, you know, just a big gorilla, man, is what the old man's described as far as flying across his road on all 4s. Man, I wish I could let you see my pictures right now, but
we'll get you. If nothing else, we'll bring you back on and do a show with the pictures, and you can talk about all that. But we can throw them up on Facebook. Although the pictures, a lot of times, they do better if somebody's talking about them to put it into context.
But yeah, I found what's crazy about this. I found some Mardi Gras jewelry way the heck up in some trees down here in this area that just don't make no sense. Somebody would have to get a daggum 14-foot A-frame ladder in there, and someone would hold it. The water's never flooded that high. Just weird things like that.
Yeah.
We found listen, it was a piece of foil that maybe had been used as barbecue. It had maybe some bacon grease on it or something. It was a big, probably 2 foot long by however long foil is, and it was doubled over. Okay, and it had a bunch of barbecue grease and stuff on it and stuff. Well, it come a wind, and it was stuck up in the tree. Okay, and so my buddy realized that this is the deer camp. He's like, man, this stupid thing's stuck up there in a tree. Oh well, it was too high to get. And he said the next day he goes out there and the daggum thing was down, kind of blew back in the yard a little bit. And he said he went over and picked it up. And there's this girl that has this picture, and actually she's got the foil piece too. Oddly enough, because I'll tell you a story about her. It's freaking fingerprints on this thing, man. It looks like Shaquille O'Neal. It's just freaking, it's crazy. It's just wham. The same girl here was out hunting, I guess, with my buddy that died. And she said she had to take a pee. And my buddy was like, okay, just go on back there. Don't worry about it. Just squat down. Anyway, she said it's okay. She did. So she went back there. And she said the damn thing was crouched down, leaning behind a tree, just a little bit, about half its face. And she said it was smiling at her.
Yeah.
And, and what's crazy about it, she draws that picture sometimes, from what my buddy used to say, she would draw that picture. This happened 5 years ago, okay? She was drawing that picture like daily, he said, when he was dating her. Crazy. I mean, just, how do I know that she's, you know what I mean? Probably did pick her in there and look. I know that I can tell you this much. I don't let my old lady go nowhere unless she is fully. I don't like her going nowhere by herself. Like my daughter, her, was off in the woods yesterday doing a few things, getting her, bush hogging, getting some post-it stuff, and I want to go airhead hunting by herself. I mean, it's just a simple thing. Maybe somewhere else that was more open, but not in this swamp.
Hey,
it's full of air.
It's a good thing you don't go out in the woods with squirrel. You'd be worried to death about her the whole time. She makes it her mission to leave everybody.
Squirrel's a nomad. She's just a wanderer.
She is. Just wander all over the damn place.
I don't have no say over squirrel.
No doubt.
See?
Chad, I'll tell you this. I mean, like right now, like right here.
No,
when one and Abby get here in just a little bit, which it'll still be daylight, it don't bother me as bad because they pull up just right here by the porch. They're 15, 20 feet from the porch where she parks. Yeah. Now, at night when it gets dark, there's not a time that they leave here that I don't walk them out. I walk them out. I watch them get in the car, crank up and leave. Which apparently, I mean, that's what I did with Coonbo the other night, and we had that little fiasco.
Speaking of which, people were asking about that. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody real quick from your point of view? Because Coonbo called you and said what happened.
Yeah, well, I mean, we did the show Thursday night with Sherry. It was on Mark Noble's channel, but it was Sherry and Coonbo and David Hughes and Mark Green. Well, Coonbo came here, which it's an hour drive maybe for him to get here. It's about 54 miles to his place. Well, he has zero internet, and we've got as good internet as I got in Alabama here at my place, the lake. So he called and asked me, he's like, hey, I got to do that show. You care if I use your internet? I said, well, look, dude, you know where the key's at. Go on. I said, I may be there and may not. Which anyway, I was here. And I was going to sit in this other recliner and let Coonbo sit here and just go on the show. Well, Sherry and them's like, no, get in here with us. So I sat in this double recliner, me and Coonbo. I went on the show. Well, after the show was over, Coonbo had to get back, so we didn't go backstage. When the show ended, he folded his computer and packed his stuff up, which I just walked out on the porch, was talking to him while he was getting in his truck. I wasn't just worried about something grabbing him, because Coonbo's like me. If it grabbed him, it'd probably bring him back. But anyway, he got in the truck to leave. Well, he has to back up and cut the wheel and back to his right, and then cut the wheel to his left and pull out. He's just turning around. Well, I watched him get in his truck. When he started backing up, that's when I stepped back in and closed the door and locked it and sat down in my recliner. Well, I was actually on the phone with Troy Allen when all this is taking place. And about the time I sat down, Troy said, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll let you go. So I hung up with him. Well, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my phone, whatever. Well, a few minutes, I get a phone call and it shows Coonbo Baker. So I hit, answer, and I'm just getting like a piece of a word, and it would be like, oh, that, Greg, and it's cutting out real bad. Well, I thought, he's got no service here. He's got right here, and he's hit, his phone doesn't pick up great here anyway. So it just dropped the call. Well, it was a little while. I thought, well, I hope he didn't get out here and run off in the ditch or something. I'll give him a few minutes and I'll try to call him back. And about 15 minutes, I guess, he calls me and I can hear him. He'd got to where he's dropping off the rim of the mountain down into the Tennessee Valley, and he got phone service. He said, you ain't gonna believe what happened. You ain't gonna believe what happened. I said, what? He said, well, when I turned around, so when I backed up and turned my truck around, when my lights swung to go down your driveway, I said, yeah. He goes, as a dadgum bugger walked across the driveway right in front of my truck. I went, what? He said, yeah. He said, it come out from your neighbor's double wide. Said it come out from the side of it, and said, I watched it walk across the driveway, and it stepped across the little ditch, and my neighbor collects junk. Everybody give him like junk scrap metal. He'll save it up, get a big mountain of it, and then he'll haul it all off. So it goes from a tractor trailer load of scrap to it's gone. Well, right now he's got a bunch of stuff for some old washing machines and a truck that needs hauled off. He said, man, that thing walked right across the driveway and walked between those two washing machines and that truck, and I watched it go across that into the woods. I said, well, how close was you? He said, 60, 70 feet maybe or less. So, I mean, where he was at wouldn't have been just a little over 100 feet from my porch. And that's what kills me. If I just stood on the stinking porch and watched him drive off, I could have seen the thing walk across the road. But I said, well, what color was it? Was it black? He said, no, it wasn't black. It was gray. He said it was gray color. I said, well, how big was it? He said, well, it was tall, but it wasn't bulky like a lot of them. I said, so he said it was kind of like what people talk about the basketball player looking when it's tall, still muscly, but it ain't just huge. He said it was probably 7 foot or a little over tall, but he said he figured it was probably it was probably an older juvenile, just not a full grown adult one yet.
Right.
And what's funny to me, I went 6 or 8 weeks and that really nothing happened here. Just about a week ago week before that was when I had something bang my 500-gallon propane tank right here, sound like a church bell rung at 1:30 something in the morning. So, I mean, that was, I guess, what we talked about was them more or less just saying, hey, we're back. So, but yeah,
you like that propane tank.
That's how quick things can happen. I mean, we were sitting in here doing a show talking about Bigfoot, and as soon as the show ends, within 10 minutes or 15, he's had a sighting in my yard.
Yeah, you never know, especially that especially someone like Mr. Kumbo, he's so keen to their existence and stuff like that anyway, you know what I mean?
Well, the funny thing to me was after he told me that and I'd hung up, I called my wife, got Wanda and talked to her, and she had me on speakerphone. I didn't realize Abby was sitting there with her. I told her what I just told y'all about what had happened. And I heard Abby in the background go, "Oh my goodness, when am I going to get to see one?" I said, "Baby, I don't know." I said, "I didn't realize you was here." She said, "Everybody sees one but me. When am I going to get to see one?" I said, "Baby, I don't know. All I can tell you is just keep coming and keep watching." But you don't know. I mean, y'all, as much as I've dealt with them, as far as me saying there one is, they ain't nothing. Like Kumbo, that sighting he saw, it crossed the road. That's a great Class A sighting. For me, what I label is a Class A, there it is. I'm seeing it good. There's nothing else it can be. There it is. I can see it well. 4 times in the last 24 years that I've been dealing with these things. 4. Now, that's not counting me and Misty and Spencer, Mark Noble, and my son was all in my truck. The one that crossed the road that blocked out the entire sign. All I can tell you is it was an upright figure that was bigger than a 8-foot tall road sign. I didn't get a good sighting of it. But now, what else is that big? An upright dark figure just blots out a whole sign.
I might have had a great sighting of it if Misty hadn't been bitching at me the whole time in the back seat.
No doubt. Next time y'all
I was multitasking. I was fussing and still seeing it.
That's true. Next time y'all ride with me, I'm carrying one of them little spray bottles, like a Windex bottle, where I get whoever's arguing's get squirted.
That's funny.
He deserves it.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, you don't never know when you're gonna. I mean, like I say, I've only had one time that my eyes seen a creature. In all honesty, but
yeah,
I have seen definite eyeshine that was really odd and it's huge. That one time I left the yard, but they have been around me, just knowing, hearing them a few times. That's enough for me.
Well, Chad, have you ever heard anything in the woods that sounded like it was something like people talking you couldn't understand, that you couldn't explain or anything?
Oh yeah, one time, it was this time I stayed in there because I thought that if I moved that I was going, because I had seen a few deer, and I just kept thinking that there was a monster back in there that was some big huge 12-pointer, because I did see a big body mass doe right at dark. And so I didn't really want to. I kind of stayed there about 10 minutes longer than you usually would before you just get your backpack and take off and walk back to the truck or what have you. But I remember hearing, like, I thought it was the Mexicans talking. And I was like, well, maybe they're oil field workers back in there. But this was on a Sunday, and they're never back in there working on Sunday on this piece of land. So I just kind of, at the time, and I just never put that together. I'll tell you what's crazy though. The story I think I may have told y'all before. Whenever the old man was doing a little pre-scouting, I guess it was more or less squirrel season. It wasn't deer season yet, so he was doing slipping with a 22 mag. Excuse me, and he hadn't fired a shot yet. It was kind of like a September morning, he said. And he said he got out of the truck. It had been 30 minutes from the truck. And he said he had to use the bathroom. So
Shit.
Piece of paper. And so anyway, he said he leaned his gun up, and his gun was about, when he said he was doing his business, the gun was about just a foot or so out of reach. And so he said he just looked up and kind of noticed something. This is so freaky. He noticed something, a figure, but it was kind of squatted down. and he said he could see its arm, and I guess the thing was, he said it was playing with itself. And he was probably had his pants down to his ankles. He was taking care of his number 2 business. But when he looks up, he sees this. I don't know how far it was. He said about 75 yards or so. We might get him to verify that, but he thought that it was a black man out there, you know, playing with himself. And he said as soon as he reached to get his gun and scope to get a better look, he said that thing was gone. He said it was savvy to his movement and that scope and gun. And he said for all them years, he said, man, I just don't know why was a black man down there doing that. And I said, well, where was you at? And he told me, and I was like, golly, that's some daggone swamp in there. And I mean, why would you be? And I said, okay, well, when he took off running, what was his clothes look like? He said, it was all one color. He said, I thought it was a black man naked. And I said, well, I said, well, when you went to grab for the gun, and seen that you were looking at him, I said, did you look at it for a minute? And did y'all know he was looking at each other? And then before you grabbed the gun, he said, yeah, I was looking at it. It was looking at me. I was like, golly, that's so weird and crazy. But yeah, he said that he thought it was a black boy in there, you know, squirrel season. And if y'all know anything about squirrel season down here, it's mosquito infested still, and I just wouldn't be naked. But yeah, that, and he said another time they was this was in DeSoto Parish, which is
Stop it, 3D.
The parish below me. He said,
damn it,
it was him and 2 other guys. They was walking. I don't know. I guess it was public land somewhere. They were going to do something, maybe fishing or something. But he said they walked down the road a good bit. He said something sounded like it was growling in the bushes, kind of like just right off in the ditch off the road. And he kept thinking that it was one of his buddies, like playing a joke that was kind of lagging behind the leader of them walking. And he said they turned around, and then at one moment they were all gathered up, and the whole crew was gathered up right there. And he said, looking back down the road where the fire was flickering, a person walks across. And he says, I was like, well, could you tell me about the person, you know? And he's like, it was just the person. It was just a figure walked across. Well, was there any other vehicles in there or anything? And he goes, no, there was nothing in there. And I was like, he's got so many stories and stuff, man. Like I said, we could talk all night, but that's pretty freaky. You know,
now you said that,
Chad.
huh?
Now you're froze up.
right? I can see him moving.
Really?
Hello.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't like at all. He's froze up on my end. Am I froze up?
No, you're moving around fine.
What?
Can you hear me?
I hear you fine,
Yeah.
but I'm seeing you froze up. So I thought maybe everybody else was.
No, he's moving around, talking. Everything's fine. Spencer fell off the edge of the world. Yeah, I can see Chad moving.
I guess it's just us.
Up, she's back. Look at her.
See, now I can see you. I don't know. That's weird.
Venture in the mountains of Virginia, and he has bad internet.
Let's see. We got a couple of questions. Let me check these.
Yeah, let's go through some questions, Missy. Let's see what's going on. Have you been hit by lightning?
Huh?
Have you ever been hit by lightning?
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
I have been on the water and seen where lightning hit a tree.
Yeah.
It was raining and lightning so hard that me and my dad, we made it to this lady's boathouse and hunkered down. But yeah, I seen lightning hit a tree half a mile away. It scared the dog out of me.
Yeah. All right. What else you got, Misty?
Wonder if any females had been around to cause that. This is what he was just talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Well, to be honest with you, the night I seen that night at 2:30 in the morning, whenever I glanced up and looked through that window, and a lot of times, y'all, I would have that window open because I stick my scope out of it, and so with a crossbow, anyway, or just to look. And but yeah, the window was open, and like I say, it was 2:30 in the morning, and me and my wife was playing cards, and and that's when I looked out there, and it was 169 yards away, and it wasn't anything really quick, and it wasn't anything really long. It was, I'd say, 25 to 30 feet of left to right movement that I got to see. I got to see it probably take 5 steps or so. I don't know. Really accurate on that, but
Yeah.
huh?
One of the questions right there. I mean, like that question talking about, if maybe some women had been around or whatever to get these things excited. And I believe that's absolutely, from what I've dealt with, what Coonbo, stuff he shared with me, Bill White absolutely sat me down and talked for an hour one day because he found out that my wife, Wanda, hunted with me. And Wanda's a avid outdoorsman, y'all. I mean, that's one reason that when you go in my house, it looks like Wild Kingdom in the living room. And because we've got, like 10 full shoulder mount deer heads and I don't know, 25, 30 more sets of horns. I got a bobcat mounted. I got rattlesnake hides tanned on the wall. It's like going in a Bass Pro Shop to go in my living room, and everybody goes, "How do you get your wife to let you put all this stuff up on display?" I'm like, "It's pretty easy. That big 8 points hers, that 7 points hers, that other 8 points hers. She's hanging her trophies up too." But what Bill White had stressed to me was, the man looked at me sitting on my porch, looked at me square in the eyes. He said, "Son, let me tell you something." He said, "You need to be really careful and cautious about your wife going in the woods, especially alone." And he said, "Especially certain times of the month." You know what I'm talking about? I said, "Yes, sir."
See, I didn't want to mention about that night, but yeah, it was her time.
Yeah, that's why he says. He swore up down that there was too many reports and too many occurrences of these things picking up on the pheromones or whatever. And that's what he told me. He said, "Look, that's something you need to be really, really, really cautious about."
Yeah, there's been a couple other females besides my wife at the camp that have told us about. Of course, that one girl said she seen the thing when she's peeing, and then the other girl is my friend that he hunts there too. His wife was in that camper with her daughter and the dog. And also, she had another deal where she was in a stand and just heard something like growling that she'd never heard before. And it didn't sound like any kind of animal or cat or anything. She said it was just like growling. And she just she's got some time in the woods. She's killed probably 8 or 10 deer. She's not just completely new to be out there. And I feel like she could identify something that wasn't an animal or was. Growling's growling. But yeah, my wife, man, she's a little feisty, and she just has a don't care attitude. And I say that, but she really she knows this much. You plead the name of Jesus, everything has to bow. And I know that
that's true.
I know that if a lot of this I can prove physical evidence myself, and I'm not a researcher. I just got some what my daddy and me call TOW, and that's time on the water or time in the woods. That's and I can prove where things have stepped, and I can prove where things have taken stuff. I can prove where things have touched things and things like that. But even got pictures of them moving behind deer, that was eating corn. And
Hey.
but there's a side to them that I can't explain. That I think that's whatever you want to call it, spiritual, Nephilim, demonic. I don't think they're of God, but I do know this: they have to answer to God. But yeah, my wife, she knows that. We know that, and everything. But still, I'm like, okay, Mindy, why don't you just wait till I come around there and pick you up in side by side? You ain't got to walk down that thick trail that's half a mile just because you prove to me you can. I still make like this one area. She walked down through there, and we had a picture of a big puma that, I mean, this son of a gun had been eating good. It looks to be 200 pounds. Tail that long, this thing was 8 foot long or 9 foot long, tail to nose. And I told her, I was like, well, you don't have to prove to me you coming through there with your little 223, and your little bitty cell phone light. I was like, where's your flashlight at? I was coming to pick her up. She said, well, I had to go because the mosquitoes was getting me. I said, okay, I understand that too. What can I tell her? Because I took off walking too. The mosquitoes was eating me up. Mm-hmm. Gets nervous, but she don't get out there much unless she's right with me. And what she does,
do you spend much time around the woods other than deer season? I mean,
yeah, because of my lake property where it's at.
Yeah.
So always I fish. Of course, I'm more busy work wise in the summer months and spring months, but I try to fish as much as I can. I love to bass fish, and so sometimes I'll bass fish, a couple of nights, or I like in the evenings. Sometimes maybe I'll go right after work and I'll be right where that. But it's kind of changed. It's kind of changed now since all that happened in 2021. My neighbor, he has a guy that works for him, and he kind of stays there in his camper on his duck camp, pretty much is what it is. But he works for him and stays there during the week, and then goes back home to Texas on the weekends. But so with him being there, it's probably just more human populated than whenever I was staying there. Because whenever I had the stuff happen to me there, I was living there. I'd been divorced, and I moved there, and then me and Minnie have been married for 3 years. So yeah, I was living there on that land in the camper.
Just curious, Chad, have you ever been struck by lightning or had a near-death experience where you actually died for a minute or so?
No.
What about supernatural stuff? I mean, like growing up, I know it seems outlandish, but in some way, shape, or form, I swear I think all of this stuff is connected. Have you ever had, whatever, psychic stuff happen to you, deja vu, anything supernatural where you saw ghosts or anything like that, anything supernatural or spooky?
No, I've seen people healed by Jesus Christ.
Right.
But I've never, no. I ain't never had it happen to me like that. I've seen a devil possessed lady come into church one time. But yeah.
So at the end of the day, you were talking about where you think there's something more to them, than just the normal animal run of the mill kind of stuff. What do you think these things are?
I think they're hybrid, man. I think they're hybrid. I think they're That's just my honest answer. I think they're hybrids of things that have, who knows, government protected, government created, God forbidden, or the Nephilim was cast down because they failed, and something about the Bible says they're going to have to be hidden all the rest of their days on the earth or something. I
Yeah.
can't remember.
I mean, if you're around the Bigfoot subject long enough, that brings into consideration stuff like what Kumbo talks about with the shofar, and a lot of what they talked about on Thursday's show. If you will go back and watch that on Sawdust Beast, the connection between them and Nephilim, there's a lot to it. I don't know that you can prove it 100%. Well, I know that you can't prove it 100%, but there's a lot to the connection between the Nephilim and these things. You really need to take that into consideration.
That's what I, I try, like my daughter, she makes fun of me and everything. But she's so curious also. Like if a show comes on and there's someone talking and telling their story or encounter story, man, she's glued in, I'm like, okay, man, you want me to change the channel? No, wait a minute. And man, I just know that whatever it was that was doing that low grumbling, growling, and it was loud enough that it was coming through a window. It was a slide out window. I guess it went too hard to hear out of a slide out. You're close to it. But man, it was the most intimidating thing that's ever happened to me that I could not see. Is that a good way to say it?
I love stuff like that. For all of the people that are watching this or comment about your experiences, please, I'm going to tell you again, Squirrel, will you throw up our email, please? Please let us know, because little stuff like that right there, a full-grown man who is a hunter, spent a lot of time in the woods. The dude is 6'5" and 300 pounds, and he ain't fat. And a sound, the growl, it did something to him to where he just instinctually knew that's not something to mess with. My point is, I don't care how small you think your experience is, or you didn't have a Class A sighting, but you had something happen. We still want to hear from you. If you're watching this show, you're part of the Bigfoot community, and I got news for you. There's way more people that have had weird little stuff happen than there are the people that have had like the grade A sightings. I mean, House lives in a really prominent area. So does Kumbo. These things happen, but like what Greg talked about earlier, he's seen them 4 times in 24 years. That's once every 6 years in a highly active area.
Right.
These things, it's not like if you go to the area that they're just there all the time. They move. You don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know how it's going to happen. Most of the time, it does happen when you least expect it. If you've had any little thing, though, hit us up, y'all. Tell us about it. You don't have to do a show, but at least contact us and tell us what happened to you so we can learn from everybody else. We're trying to make the community more inclusive where everybody is listening to each other. There are no experts in this field. We're all just listening to each other and trying to be supportive.
That's right. I think I'm interested to hear it if you've seen it up close, or if you just didn't see nothing at all, something come up in the middle of the night and jiggle the door handle.
Yeah, y'all, look, here's the deal, Spencer. I'm to the point now that we need to set aside and do a Sunday on just a near death experience show. I'd love to hear some of that.
Yeah. I can talk on that one. You know, though, on kind of like what I just said, or I can imagine some of the stuff like what Chad is talking about, or like what Greg has talked about, where he was coming to the gate and the thing was right there that he couldn't see it. I mean, I myself have been walking and growled at, and it caused me to freeze and stop. And I look, and there's nothing there. And I mean, it's trees, but it's not heavy foliage, it's not undergrowth, bushes, all that kind of stuff. I didn't see it. And it's really, really hard talking to people and trying to explain. No, I'm telling you, there was something growled. It was there, but I didn't see it. And it's embarrassing. I mean, it's, you know, it makes you sound like you're half lit or crazy whenever you say some of this stuff. But y'all, this is a non-judgmental channel if there ever was one. Just let us know on the crazy stuff or the little details.
Right. Yeah, you feel like an idiot talking to a lot of people. That's why, you know, it took me forever to really, you know, start texting anybody about, you know, maybe this. You know, how it's been a long time, hasn't it, Spencer, since we can just since I initially talked to you. I just
yeah,
you know,
it took me a while to get Chad on the show.
Yeah.
I just you know, because of that, people saying stuff, and I can't say no. I was the same way. I was the same way even after things had happened to me. When I went four-wheeler riding on that ride that night, and we was blowing that coyote call, me and my buddy stopped right there on the wheeler and reached for a cigarette. Man, that wasn't nobody off in the woods making moonshine right there, whistling. If it was a moonshiner or a meth cook or something, you wouldn't be whistling at somebody stopping. You'd hope they cranked up and left.
Nah. I mean, a lot of this comes down to Occam's razor kind of stuff. You know, the simplest answer is probably the right one. The problem is, you know, if you get on a YouTube show, you feel the need to justify what you've experienced and what you're trying to tell people. I mean, because you don't want to sound like a crazy person. But anybody that has been around this stuff, it's exceedingly difficult to talk about this to people that are skeptical or people that don't believe in it, people that have had no experience with it. And most of the time, it's the people that have had no experience with it because
that's right.
You know, they're not open-minded to it. They have no reason to be. They've never experienced it. My thought on that is that, you know, if you guys would go out with an open mind and go to some of these areas, maybe you would start noticing some of the stuff. There's no telling how many people saw a booger or a dog man or something run in front of them while they're driving down the road at 100 yards away, and they caught a brief glimpse of it. And then in their head, they just said, well, that was a bear, or it was a cow that got loose or something like that. Kumbo leaves Greg's house, but Kumbo knows what he's looking for, and he's keen to it. He's paying attention, and he's like, damn, there's a booger.
Thing about it, though, Ray Charles could have seen that one cross.
Well, your area is highly active, but
what do y'all think about that? About that question? That's a good question.
Yeah, I think. Look, I've for years I've wondered, even like with rabies, what if one of these things got a hold of a raccoon or something that had rabies and it contracted? You think how dangerous that would be? You got a rogue booger running around with rabies. I mean, it would be that way with chronic wasting.
Number one, if what we're talking about is purely a flesh and blood physical animal of some kind. Number two, their metabolism is bound to be different to be that big. I mean, having to stay outdoors in the winter and everything. Number three, there's quite a bit of examples of water moccasins and other venomous snakes being picked up and tied in a knot and hung on branches in areas where people have seen boogers, which makes you think that they're probably not as susceptible to the venom, which would be a neurotoxin. Go ahead, Squirrel.
No, I wasn't trying to cut you off. When you said that, that just reminded me. Have you guys seen the video, the little short of the little monkey sitting there with these cobras all around it? And like, it's like the monkey sitting and just like it'll flick it or whatever. And it's like the snakes just won't even mess with this monkey.
But
that's kind of the way Kane is up there in Ohio.
It's a monkey.
No, he just goes out in the woods and just sits there and they don't mess with him.
Oh.
You also have to take into consideration, you're assuming that like humans, we have to stop and look and slow our roll and make sure and go, oh, wait, I see all the signs that thing's got chronic wasting disease. Who's to say that a creature that exists solely off of hunting and on its own instincts out in the land, even if it was just a flesh and blood creature, maybe its senses are heightened to a degree where it can smell or in some way, shape, or form sense that the animal has chronic wasting disease. We have dogs trained that can sniff cancer or drugs, bombs, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm just saying it's a loaded question. I don't think that would be a big thing for boogers.
Well, you know, too, I mean, just natural immunities to things. I mean, like you take like a dog. A dog can go chew on a dead carcass that's been laying there for a month and eat just rotten stuff, and it'll never make them sick. But, you know, I reckon, like, from what I understood, and I'm not no doctor, and, you know, one won't even let me play doctor. So anyway, but you take you know, humans are appendix, you know, your appendix, I think, is what's supposed to be what keeps you from getting sick. What's, you know, basically makes it where a lot of that stuff won't mess with you. Hey, Misty, show them what your shirt says.
What?
She got her Buffalo Bill. It puts the lotion on the skin shirt.
Of course she does.
Yes. Check that out.
Okay, hang on. We got some questions right quick. Let me get caught up. David Hughes said, remember we were, what? Did you just click that off?
Huh?
What in the world? I put that up and it just went away as soon as I put it up. Okay. His question though was, gosh, where did it go? I starred that question. No, it's gone.
David Hughes's?
Yeah, I had it.
Hold on.
Let me find it again.
Does he think,
Fast.
does he sense a notable difference in the feel of the woods?
There you go.
Like,
do I?
Yeah, like, do you feel that the woods are different there now? I guess is what he's talking about.
Well, to be honest with you, I would say since that time that I was walking out. Okay, so I'm sitting there in the stand, and I'm looking down this road. I'm looking down the way that I walked in. Okay, I don't like to do that, but at certain times, you got to look the direction you walked in, and to the right was just woods and woods and woods, and I heard something on that side about 300 yards from me, and then not even 7 seconds later, on the left, maybe about that same distance, that's when that other daggum, you know, it sounded like a daggum bulldozer ran over a freaking tree and snapped it. I'm talking about extremely aggressive limb cracks, green limb crack. So that's when I was texting my buddy who's passed, and I told him, I was like, man, they sound like a zoo back here. And I remember, okay, walking out on that walk, shining my light a little more often, you know, I'm in a swamp. You know, you got dry land here, and then wet, you'd be running here, and then it'd be patches wet and more, and it elevates a little bit and dry. So, you know, it's stuff all around you. And but I usually just walk down the road to come in on. But man, that night I was all over the place because of the limb cracks.
Yeah.
To the four-wheeler, I get there, and that's when that thing stepped on that stick that was so muffled like that. But it was in that, it was so thick right there by where I parked at. Couldn't see in there. You couldn't see in there in daylight. You can't see in there in daylight 10 feet. Right there where that area's at. But since then, that's been it's been it's been almost, I guess, 5 years ago. And so has things felt different at times since then? Yes, big time. It'd be sometimes, well, I guess you could just call me chicken shit now, you know. Excuse my language, but yeah, sometimes it's just a big hurry to hurry up and get back to the truck. You know, sometimes I could really feel like you know, I guess sometimes I do feel more fear than other times. But I can't prove that means there's anything around there. There might not be nothing around there but me and one hog that's laid up. I don't know. I think it's just me having that happen to me before, for sure, and seeing one moving. Yeah, I know how sneaky they are. That's what really affects me, is I know how sneaky they are, and I know how comfortable they are up to me close. And I know how they use thickets, and I know how they use quiet walking exits and such stuff like that. That's, you know what I mean? But they're good about not leaving tracks. And like I said, the ones I have found, it ain't been by a big one. I think they're just been around here too long, and they got too many places where the leaf litter is real thick, and they don't have to walk in the mud and crap where you can go and tell. I can tell what kind of mud grip tires Greg's driving if he drove through there. You get what I'm saying? They ain't gonna walk and step and stuff like that. Rarely they will, but maybe if they're getting somewhere in the rain or something like that. Mr. Will Lumford said that's how he finds a lot of them. They're
One of the points about that being, though, like what you were saying, where you find the tracks and they're not right there on the trail. They're going to be over in the heavy and deep and thick stuff. One of the points about that, though, is how far they go out of their way to remain hidden. They tree peek even at night. It's just these things. It's kind of like this. Somebody else asked a question about, do you think that they came in more, or they encroached more whenever we were under a lockdown? Yeah, they probably did. But then as we start pushing back in the woods, they probably back a little bit because they don't want to be right up on us. I'm not saying that they don't come into us. I'm saying that they have something in their nature, in my opinion, where they do not want to be seen. In fact, it's almost like they get pissed off when they are seen.
Oh, yeah, exactly right.
And by the way, to the other question, Miss V, about anything warm-blooded can get rabies. Yes, if they're 100% flesh and blood. If they are just a biological. If there's something else, though, there's no telling. Just saying. The longer you do this, the longer you're in this field, the more you start to think other things. I've personally had batteries drained. I mean, stuff happen when you can't see something. Just weird stuff. And it makes you wonder if they are just flesh and blood.
I was looking at that one question. Did I notice any dead silence? I noticed whenever the limbs and stuff was cracking, it was birds erupting, just like it seemed like. I remember texting my buddies, man, it's like a zoo over here. And when I said zoo, I meant including these bird chirps. It was like every species of bird you can name all at one time was just like freaking out. And then they kind of just stopped, and then it went silent. Yeah, I did.
Chad, have you ever heard, like, sure enough, like monkey noises?
Yeah, I have.
Really?
I have, but man, there's so many birds. If you look on the information about how many bird species is around Caddo Lake, it's impressive. It's like a big migratory area for them to do their thing, and it's just you got all your waterfowl and all your regular birds and stuff, all mixed together.
Well, what I'm talking about monkey noises, I don't mean sounds a little bit like monkeys. I'm talking about it sounds like you're at the monkey enclosure at the zoo.
I have one time. I have, and that's what I kept asking them when I got back to the camp. I was like, did y'all hear the little monkeys in there? And that's what it sounded. It was. I mean, it was like literally that.
Misty had them started up here last time she was here. I don't know what that was all about.
And this was only one time it was noticeable that I heard that, and I really didn't think it would be anything. In my time, I was really thinking it sounded like some people's pet monkeys out or something. I never thought about it being a creature or creatures, youngins. But I can tell you this one time, my buddy that passed, he shot a deer. We never did find it, which is strange on itself too. So we called,
just saying, yeah, owls can make that monkey caterwauling sound.
They can make part of it.
Yeah,
but usually they're not going to be doing it at like 3 o'clock in the day with the sun shining on you.
Yeah, well, I've heard many owl calls around here. It sounds like a horse dog. It's not. This happens all the time, especially if you night fish out here a lot. I heard one time, me and my buddy was out there fishing, and then we heard just this one. It sounded really like a cut, like that. Not a clap, but like it was cut real hard. So I told him, I said, man, this was very loud. And I told him, I said, that sounded, all I could say was it was an alligator. Like, you got leather slamming on bone real hard. But if you go to a zoo or something, or if you see alligators in the wild, whenever they're chomping, bam, as hard as they can, loud, hard as they can. It's never loud. You might hear it from 100 feet away, but you're not going to hear it 400 yards away bass fishing. And that's what me and my buddy was trying to tell each other that night. Oh, man, it was good. But then it happened again, like an hour later. And what it was, we was coming through in an area that's probably never really much messed with at night. And we was coming through there real low lights, the lights you can shine at night fishing, the ultra night lights. And so whenever you shine the tree that you're going to cast by, you can't shine a halogen or LED light in there, you'll spook them. So we're coming through there with low light, and I think maybe some guns was whacking, signaling us whenever because it was strange now that I think about it. That whack, that percussive just was so freaking loud. And that's what we told each other. Till that second time, you could hear it, and we done got 600-700 yards maybe away from that. Sounds like in the same place. But we've heard stuff out there, and see on the Louisiana side of that lake, you got pump jacks, and they've drilled in the water right there, right? So you got some equipment. Y'all all know what pump jacks are.
Yeah.
You know how some of them be moved up, down. They squeak like all get out. And so up there, you kind of have to be decisive about, well, there ain't no daggum Bigfoot yelling. That's the daggum pump jack. Some of them will squeak at certain times, and sometimes they won't. Like if it's rained and lubricated them a little bit, or like if it's real hot and dry, they might squeak worse. But sometimes it's just you're around a spot that there ain't no pump jacks, and you hear something just raw, just for about 30 seconds, but 10 or 15 seconds.
Whenever you hear a person, a lot of times tell a difference.
Yeah, one time it made me and my buddy stop casting and look at each other like, whoa. But you never have anything like you got no recorder going or nothing. Like I say, it's just on your memory.
Oh yeah, but man, I don't try to record them. I mean, think about it. The stuff that people play that they recorded, it never sounds like it's supposed to. I mean, it's just like pictures. Pictures don't do it justice to being there and seeing it. I've tried to tell people that I've had these things scream, and it was so loud, it'll vibrate you to the core all the way through you. It's so loud it hurts your ears. And honest to God, I've had them scream so loud and hit a certain tone it would vibrate my eyes and blur my vision. You cannot record that and play that for somebody to experience that like it is firsthand.
Yeah, I would lose my mind. I've never had anything holler at me that close, and I just don't. I think maybe the good Lord knows how scared I'd be to ever go back out there again. If it would just make you lose all your insides.
It's scary. Even though you like a lot of us that get out and do this and we have stuff happen, then we decide to go back. There's something wrong with people like us. I don't care.
Oh, I agree.
You don't get scared. Let's do it again.
If I'm with just one other person, I'm okay. I'll do anything, go anywhere. But if it's when I'm by myself, that's when things. And see, like my buddy that passed away, he was a big guy, and he used to arm wrestle, and he was stout, and so a lot of crap happened to him. He said one night, it yelled so bad and loud. He said, I just can't explain it. He had the zoo and times 10 it. He said, and then it sounded like something took a daggum 10-inch tree and just.
Where you been?
Wow.
Roger, just get here when you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's way scarier when you're by yourself. I agree.
Oh, yeah.
If there's somebody with you, you at least got a 50% chance of getting out of there.
Knock them down. Hey, y'all, we're at 2.5 hours. We have to bring up the meet and greet before we get off here. Chad, any chance you're coming to the meet and greet?
When is it?
It's at the beginning of October.
The beginning of October. Where at?
Eastern Alabama. Northeastern. Well, kind of.
Central Eastern.
Yeah, Central Eastern.
I doubt it. I doubt we will. I would like to maybe go somewhere in the spring, but with my wife's off time the rest of the year, we've got it pretty much pegged out. We're going to Missouri for like 2 weeks, November.
What you're still going to booger territory?
Oh, I imagine so.
Oh yeah, they're in Missouri for sure.
Before we talk about the meet and greet, let him answer this question, and then Superfly has got a question he has got to try to answer again right quick.
Okay.
When
swamps flood from hurricanes, do you think the Squatch goes somewhere else?
No, because just because of this story right here, my buddy, and this is just something that you can't prove, but it's something you can go off of what your friend said on their account of it. And like I said, this guy was, he would fight a grizzly bear and everything. So he said he gets up in the stand and sitting there, and it's just like right cracking daylight. And he's in a metal lean-to with a shooting rail that folds down around you. And he said something was shaking the top of this tree all of a sudden about 60 yards away from him. He said he thought it sounded about 60, 70 yards. It not just shaking, he said, but when he initially heard it, he could tell that it was way up high, 40, 50 feet. He said it jumped down. He said he could hear a couple limbs hitting this, whatever it was, before it hit the ground, and then it was like he said almost like 2 steps real hard, doo, doo, maybe, and then he said nothing. Then he said all of a sudden it just sounded like a stud horse just took a leak over there.
Huh.
And then just a couple steps later, he said, I never seen nothing. He said, but that sound right there, it really freaked me out. So I think, to answer the question about the floods, I think that, man, they got the ability to do whatever the heck they want to in any kind of.
Thanks, Randy.
Here, because if they choose to live down here, they're tough. I'm telling you right now, I have seen I've seen alligators just wipe out a whole herd of hogs just like that. I had it on video at one time. I was following. But it's tough to live around here, especially trying to raise little youngins and such. Just the swamp, the heat. I think the heat. But then again, if you know how to find deep water and where a current moves, you can find cool water and cool off right now, even when
And if you dig burrows underground or live in caves, I mean, you could cool off.
Yeah.
Hey, Superfly was asking, where's the question, Squirrel?
What happened when he got knocked down?
Yeah, did you get knocked down?
At the beginning or whatever, when you was talking, I guess he was late coming in. I can't find the other question. I guess took it off, or it didn't hold all of them.
I was wanting to know when he got knocked down in the yard.
Oh no, I never did get knocked down in the yard. No,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not picking up on what the question.
I'm not ask it again because I'm not sure, and I can't find the other one. There's been so many.
He said, could you please ask Chad to describe what happened when he got knocked down? I don't recall Chad saying that he got knocked down, but
No. Oh, well, maybe he was talking about whenever I seen the deer knocked down and then run off and then disappeared. Maybe was the only time I said the word knocked down. I'm not sure what he's talking about.
I don't know.
He stumbled right.
He was talking about a deer that got knocked down, got back up, and ran into the wood line.
Okay, he was confused. He said, "Oh, okay, a deer. My bad."
Oh, all right. Yeah.
That's why. Okay, everybody was kind of confused.
I just thought I missed something. I didn't know.
Yeah, I missed that too.
Well, I'll tell you, man, the closest that I know that I've ever been to one of these things was when I walked by that one that night. I was coming out from my stand, and that thing huffed, growled, grunted, whatever you want to call it. But it was like the sound went through me, and I had walked within about 6 feet of that thing, and I wasn't over 8-10 feet from it when it did that. Man, if I'd have just thought, I would have just died. I was like my spirit left my body right then.
Man, I know that's exactly the word used for it. The best word is paralyzing. You have your senses completely in your mind, but when that rumble hits you, and I don't know, man, I'm not no Bigfoot expert at all. I don't know anything about these things other than what I'm just telling you. But I can tell you that rumble, and I don't know if other people could help me out and say they've heard that rumble too or something, or know that that's similar. But man, that hit me like a freight train.
Yeah.
And then I guess maybe I would say it felt like maybe 10 seconds or so. And then I was like, you need to make a move for that 7 mag. Or you're going to get, the fight or flight kicked in. And I'm glad who would have known if I sat there. Well, I'd have been lushy. I don't know.
Stripers. Haywood, calm down.
I know this, like my buddy, he's got a driveway alarm because he lives way out in the sticks. And so it's a lot of times like he has the beam, I guess, set up to where not going to catch rabbits and stupid things. It may be up 3 feet or so. And it'd go off sometimes, and then you kind of, turn the light on or shine a light out there, he says, and then you'll see the beam go off again. Maybe it's like a coyote leaving or something. He said one night, he said the thing went off, ding dong or whatever. And he said, okay. So he kind of looked out the window, shined his little light out the window, nothing. He said, you did have to see how his yard set up around there. It's like just real thick around the edge of the yard and that pond and everything. So you could just be surrounded at anywhere, being watched if one were to be doing that. So, man, he said he'd been in and out of his house to his truck, like getting a few things out or what have you, making trips inside. Then he said he had a pump shotgun over in the driver's side. He said right when he walked out, when he took that thing out, he said he racked one in it, I guess to check to see if it's loaded. He said a dead something sounded like it. He said it sounded like 5 sacks of sack crate dropped out of that dead whatever over there and took 2 big steps and run off. He said it was the craziest thing because they said as soon as I showed the shotgun and shucked it, he said that thing, he said it was just, he said I just laughed. He said another time he was out there in the yard piddling around. This is where that helicopter limb come flying across the pond at him. We just talk about this kind of stuff, and we're really, we're all kind of on each other's, his son, we had things happen to him, and we talk to each other about things, but it's kind of me and him now, So he tells me all this stuff that really ain't, just a big deal to anyone else.
You need Mark and your other friends and come back on and do a whole show with all of them where they're all like talking about their own experiences with you.
Yeah, that'd be a good deal, but good luck getting them together.
Well, I don't think we probably missed 1/3 of the questions to you tonight.
Right. Yeah. I can't really, I'm using my phone and I can't really see all of these.
It's see the comments on your phone. Crow Creek said, have you had sickness after hearing them or being close to them? Have you gotten physically sick?
In all honesty, I've had times back there where, I just get a dizzy spell real bad and I would kind of just have to stop walking.
I've had that happen.
But I don't know if it's because, I don't think it's because of, me being out of shape. I work construction and I in pretty good shape. Try to. It's just hard to explain. It's just like a dizziness, kind of a
disoriented, confused.
Yeah. And but it ain't anything. And I always counted that a couple of times that maybe I needed to get on some blood pressure medicine because once I did, I kind of did. It helped with maybe some light headaches I was having. I've been on blood pressure about a year now.
Look at there.
Holy
Y'all hear
cow.
me now?
Where you been, Roger?
Look, he's been off air so long, we got to introduce him. Everybody, this is Roger Williams, the Squatch and Holler. Y'all may have heard of him. He ain't done nothing in so long.
Hey, Chad.
Hey, hello.
Y'all.
Hold on. Did I knock it off?
We can still see him.
Okay. I was looking to see if I can see the chat. I can't see the chat on this phone, so
It's hard to do it on the phones. If you turn your phone sideways, a lot of times you can see it on the side.
I'm upside down.
Yes, well, I can't help that.
There he is.
Y'all were talking about we were listening with Superfly asked about being knocked down and all of that. The sound. Y'all remember? I had to go to Lincoln County because the guys called. I think he talked to Peyton, and what had happened to those two? They were hunting, and he said they were being trailed out of the woods, and they were both scared, and something screamed so loud, the one guy knocked him down.
It ain't been 5 hours.
It knocked him down, and the other guy started projectile vomiting immediately. So sometimes that scream and that I guess the frequency, I don't know. I've been hit pretty hard by sound before, and it not Bigfoot or anything like that, but you get a queasy feeling, or anything messes with your ears and I guess the fluids in your ears can make you sick. So
Yeah, it can.
equilibrium. There you go. But
Well,
anyway, we're late.
You got on just in time to tell everybody if your ass is coming to the meet and greet.
Well, we're planning on it. Heather changed up her vacation time, so she might be there without me. But we're planning on it, and I'm scared to talk about it because I don't want to spill any beans.
No. Well, I mean, the only thing that we're
You
saying.
tell Spencer just to shut up. You say what you want to.
I like to maybe see some possibility of a spring one or something. That would be.
Have you had them change your mood when you thought they were around, like from happy to mad or vice versa, just real quick?
Have you had them change your mood, Leanne?
I just sent that to Leanne.
Yeah.
That basically that's just a woman in general, right? Especially if they're married. If they're married, especially to me, they go from happy to like piss plumb off, like faster than a flash.
I don't even know what subject we're talking about. Have they changed your mood?
Not
Ray said
me.
we're talking about menopause.
Yeah, it's menopause. That causes that.
Always in a good mood. Just make sure you feed me.
You know,
Make sure supper's ready by 6:30, and I'll be in a good mood.
Right.
No, just don't let her hear that, so I don't flap.
I don't think I'm gonna just start going into menopause.
You realize every problem that a woman has starts with men, right? Like
Yeah. Okay.
menstrual cycles, menopause. What?
Yeah.
World, finish the show. I've got to go. Chad, thanks for being on tonight. Y'all just go ahead and wrap it up, do whatever. Chad, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Man,
Yeah, I do too, guys. I've not ate anything at all today. I'm absolutely starving.
We'll wind it down. We'll wind it down quick.
I got this. Hell out of here.
Well, no. Misty's like autopilot. Watch her go. But anyway, all right, look, yeah, we probably do need to wind it down. We'll just have to get Chad back because, you got somebody that's had as many things happen as he had. You can't crunch it down into just one episode. Can't happen. So, Roger, tell everybody what you're doing next Saturday, what, when, where, why.
So I got invited to be at the Tennessee Wildman Crypticon. It's in Manchester, Tennessee. We or McMinnville? No, yeah, I'm wrong. Thank you. Sorry, it's McMinnville, which all that over there is about the same. But anyway, it's supposedly it's in a big newly renovated hall. There are going to be several speakers there. Lots of food trucks and vendors. And if you've been to the Gatlinburg one, it seems to be similar to that. We'll have a booth set up. I'm going to try to go live if we can get good, signal. And we will be I'll be across from Hellbent Holler, and then there'll be. So come look for that booth. I've got a cool tablecloth. I'm excited. I'll probably be like the little brother over there, but it's just like a meet and greet type thing. Greg, y'all going to come up and hang out with us?
Yeah, it looks like me and Wanda and Abby's all three coming.
Okay. It should be with the amount of vendors and everything, it should be fun. I think you can get in. The people that are watching, the way I understand it is like $5 to get in the vendor hall, something like that. And then course, if you want to see the speakers, it's more expensive. But yeah, if you're in the area, if y'all are in the area, stop by.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not.
we're not definitely going to be in the area, but we're coming. So I figured we'd just come hang out with you, and I'll let Juan and Abby walk around and buy trinkets and whatnots or something.
Yep, and bring us some food.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's going to be from 9 a.m. to 5. So 5 p.m. So it probably going to be a long day.
Roger, how long
But,
does it take you to drive over there? Hour or so?
what, hour and 15 minutes? Maybe. About an hour 15.
I
But
think it shows for me it's about 3 hours or so.
it's once you get over there, heck, you're probably halfway to Misty's house, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, you would be. Well, let's see. I don't know how far y'all are in the top corner, right, Misty, in the tip.
If y'all are going to be at the Sevierville thing or whatever, you ain't but like 30 minutes from.
No, this is not Sevierville. This is kind of north of Chattanooga.
So we would still be about
That's still
2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
It'll probably be 2 hours, 2.5 to your house from there.
So, and what we'll do, just like we do every time with stuff, if I can get good signal, we'll go live and do a walkthrough. And what I plan on doing is maybe getting a few people and talking to them, maybe even just people we don't even know. Hour and 31 minutes looks like from here. But I thought it would be cool if we, ask people, hey, how'd you get into this? Do you have stories, and maybe trigger some good stories, and that might be a disaster, but who knows? It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Where do you, Franklin, Tennessee, Roger?
What was that?
Franklin,
How close am I to Franklin?
40 minutes.
30, 40 minutes probably. Because we're right on the interstate on 65. We can hop on and be there pretty fast. Up at, is it 96? Highway 96? Yeah. But it's, that place is grown.
We usually go on in November to see my father-in-law up there.
Well, y'all go 65 north?
Last I can't remember. We did come in through Alabama last time.
If you come up through Birmingham and go 65 north straight to Franklin, you come within 5 miles of the house.
Oh, okay. Well, then I figured. Yeah, we come in from Memphis too. I think it's about time.
Yeah.
That's if you come in on 40 probably, and then cut 840, take 840 around. Yeah, it's not too far. But we've been getting a lot of. I never expected this part of it. The emails and stuff about other people having stories, stuff's happened to them. But Middle Tennessee, especially southern Middle Tennessee, I don't know if somebody's directing them to me or whatever, but I got so many there for a little while that I started. If I'd have put pins on a map, it started getting little clusters, and which that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's some daggone big woods and country up through there. That Interstate 40 and that 65 too. I mean, it's just so vast. I mean, you could hide an elephant in some of the thicket.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, if you came up 65, which I'm pretty sure you did, when you got to exit 32, just a mile before you got to exit 32, if you'd have looked to your right, you were a half a mile from where I saw mine so long ago. And that all those ridges and stuff, and people are still having issues. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Well, y'all, if you don't care, let's touch on Misty. Let's touch on the meet and greet. Let's inform everybody the where, the what, and the when, and kind of what it's going to be.
Tell them about it.
I'll let you take over there. You outshine twinkle twinkle little star. Anyway, all right, guys. We got this lined up for it's the first weekend in October, 4th, 5th, and 6th. which that'll be the 4th is on Friday, and everybody will leave out Sunday, but it's going to be in Talladega National Forest. And if, we kind of got the exact location, the way you find out, get the info on it, is to go on the Woodwalker Facebook page, go on there, and Misty's got us a thing set up where you go on there and look, answer a couple of questions. That's to make sure that you're a legitimate person and you ain't a creepy, freaky stalker. I mean, look, we're all weird, but we just don't want the freaky, stalkery people going. But
they can obviously get in anyways. You just got to answer the questions. We just want to make sure, at least if you're that weird, you can spell and write and whatever too. I mean, we can't have you just completely out there.
The 3 R's, the reading, writing, and arithmetic. Yeah. So, but anyway, go on there.
You know that you're not just bots, guys. So please answer the questions, whether you just put a letter or whatever. Just
you can answer it crazy and wild. Look at it, Roger's got his dime piece with him. Oh man, he won't never let Heather go on there. I don't know what the deal is.
She won't.
All right, guys, I have to eat. We have to go. Chad, thank you so much. You're going to have to come back. Send that stuff that you're wanting to show to Spencer. Feel free to post it on the page, and I'll even try to get it all together in a video, and we'll have it ready for the next time that you come back on if you want to do that.
Yeah. Look, big love, everybody. Y'all pray for the ones that we know that need praying for, and hey, just pray for everybody. But big love, y'all. And we'll catch y'all next week or maybe before.
All righty.
Chad, appreciate you. Roger, good to see you, brother.
I appreciate y'all. And Spencer was like, hey, come on. Then he leaves.
I'm telling you.
But y'all have been on for 2 hours and 46 minutes.
Yeah, I've not eaten nothing all day. I'm about to starve.
I'll see y'all later.
I'm a growing girl. I eat like a boy.
All right. Bye to everybody.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
Hey, y'all. Hey, Spencer. We're swapped around again.
Huh?
We're swapped around again.
Yep, I know you do it on purpose.